Chief Cahill, will you please guide us in the flag salute?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lisa, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kriebel?
Here.
Commissioner Landgraf?
Here.
Mayor Holtzman?
Here. Pursuant to the Open Publics Meeting Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the law. Okay, tonight we do not have any presentations. Do we have any department head reports?
Don't think so. Nothing from Public Works.
Okay. Maria, anything on capital?
No.
Okay. We will be approving the minutes of April 9th, 2020's regular meeting and April 23rd. Excuse me? What do you say?
You're breaking up, Tim.
You there? Okay. We will be approving the minutes of April 9th, 2020 regular meeting, as well as April 23rd, 2020 regular meeting. We do not have any ordinances to introduce tonight. We do not have any public hearings or adoption of ordinances. We have a nice long list of resolutions, and I will go through each one briefly, and we will discuss them, because this is our workshop portion of the meeting for anyone who's joined us, and then right after this, we go into our regular meeting where we vote on these items. Okay? So the first resolution is 2020-205, and that is requesting approval of special items of revenue and appropriation. Al, is this a 159?
159, yes.
Okay. On anything specific? What specific? Because I see another one in the agenda
There's
as
two
well.
of them. One of them is for clean communities, and the other one is for the resilient, New Jersey resilient.
Okay. So this must be the resilience, because
That's the resilient one, yes.
Yeah, the clean communities is 217, number 217. Okay.
Right.
So everybody's okay with that?
Yep. Great.
The next item is 2020-206, and that is we are appointing Eric A. Grant to a fire lieutenant in the City of Ventnor Fire Department. Anybody have anything on that?
Known Eric a long time. He's a good man.
Yep. His swearing in is Monday at 8:30 at Fire Station 1. Chief Cahill, I have the Bible in my possession already. Okay?
We're in good shape then.
We're in good shape. Okay, the next is 2020-207, and that is a refund of recreation fees for the surf camp.
Yep.
And I think that's self-explanatory, people that signed up, and then we decided that it was too much of a close contact with the instructors and the children, and we canceled, correct?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Next is 2020-208. That is authorizing the refund for an application for the New Jersey Uniform Fire Code permit. And I'm going to assume that is someone had did an application for an event and it was canceled. Am I correct, Lisa? Al, someone?
They did.
No.
They actually we're going to use the community room, but
Right.
they couldn't, so the fire department didn't need to do an inspection.
Okay.
Okay. Is that what it was? All right. Sorry. I thought it was for something else. We had someone apply for a meter permit, and I thought that might have been something similar, but it's not. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. The next is 2020-209, and that is approving the liquor license renewal for the North Beach Liquors. We go with that?
Yep.
The next is 2020-210. That's approving liquor license renewal for Park Coth Corporation Bloom's Liquor Store. We go with that?
Yep.
The next is 2020-211. That is reclassifying titles for certain employees under Public Works. Commissioner of the City of Ventnor. We'll go with that.
Yep.
This is
going.
just-
Through,
Yeah,
going.
this is right.
Go
This
ahead,
is
Mayor.
what we did before, correct?
Yes.
this
This
is
gets
continuing.
people in the right titles.
Right.
The civil service audit, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, we did some last meeting and we're doing some now. So.
Correct.
2020-212, and that is emergency additional disinfecting and cleaning of municipal building and firehouse number 1. Is this ongoing?
This is ongoing, and it's for additional cleanings because the contract is running out. The
Okay.
additional cleanings.
This is the cleaning we did once COVID hit?
Yes.
Okay.
It's all COVID related.
Okay. All right, the next is 2020-213, and that is authorizing a tax abatement for Block 211, Lot 2, also known as 303 North Suffolk Avenue. We go with that, commissioners?
Yep.
The next 2020-214, authorizing a tax abatement agreement for Block 70, Lot 19, also known as 14 South Portland Avenue. We go with that, commissioners?
Correct.
Yep.
Next is 2020-215, authorizing a tax abatement agreement for Block 167, Lot 11.01, also known as 121 North Portland Avenue. We go with that?
Yes.
Next is 2020-216, authorizing a tax abatement agreement for Block 42, Lot 9.01, also known as 110 South Swarthmore Avenue. We good?
Just a clarification for everybody who's listening in. These are the new construction tax abatements. So this is a program that was set up many years ago, actually, that allows new construction to do a tax abatement for the first 5 years after they get a CO. So it's not just us randomly picking people to get tax abatements.
Right, they have to meet a criteria.
They have to build a new home.
Right. Okay, where was I? The next is 2020-217, and this is another 159 special item revenue and appropriation, and this is the Clean Community Grant in the amount of $31,562.58.
Yes.
Okay. Next is 2020-218, and this is reclassifying titles, certain employees under revenue and finance. We go with that?
Yep. Same thing as before. It's the civil service audit
Right.
that put
Getting
people in the
people,
right position.
right.
Reclassifications.
Thank you.
Next is Resolution 2020-219, and this is authorizing certain non-union or part-time employees not covered under union contract adjustment in salary. Are we okay with this?
Yes.
Yes, because all the union employees get their adjustments January 1, correct, Maria?
Yes. Oh, wait.
Thank you. Next is 2020-220. This is authorizing traffic regulations, loading zones, and parking areas for outside dining. And this was discussed last meeting, correct?
Well, yes and no. If you want to, I can go into a little bit of detail.
Yes. Go give
So-
us the history.
So as I said at our last meeting, I spoke to almost every one of our restaurant operators in the city. If I didn't talk to them, I at least left them a message so they could get back to me. 3 of them reached out and are interested in doing some sort of seating outside of their restaurant and in the public right-of-way. 2 of those locations are on Ventnor Avenue. One would be in front of Santucci's original Square Pizza, and the other is in front of Stella down further closer to Margate. What is going to happen there is they will apply to the city. Jimmy Agnesino will review their plan, as well as Chief Biaggi and Donna Peterson, our OEM manager, to show an area of roughly 2 parking spaces in front of their buildings that would be allowed to be cordoned off with concrete barriers and allow them to put seating out there to offset the lack of seating that they have inside their buildings due to the executive orders by the governor not allowing indoor dining. That will open up next week or next 2 weeks, but it'll still be restricted to a 25%. So this will allow them to do something outside, a little more outside. The third one is a little more aggressive. The Red Room Cafe on Dorset Avenue. It did not work well for them and the county, that's a more heavily traveled street. So we looked at a side street, Monmouth Avenue. We were going to shut down, I believe, just under 200 feet of that from Dorset towards the rowing club down towards Atlantic City side. That will be closed down to traffic. There will be an allowance for a resident that has a driveway there that they can still get to their home. They will be able to do that. So the Red Room will be able to use that space for outdoor dining. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but it's similar. If you've seen what Boca did down in Margate, it's very similar to what they did there on Essex Avenue.
Right.
The city closed down that street. I'd love to see the Red Room put a tent up and be able to use that space, even in inclement weather. But that's going to certainly be up to them. That will stay closed until essentially the pandemic is relaxed, and we're not the pandemic, but the executive order is relaxed until such time that they can move fully back inside. So that's kind of it. Those are the only three that reached out to us. You've seen since the last 2 weeks, you saw Annette's put some tables in her parking lot. We worked on a plan with the police department, code, and her and Cheryl to be able to put some tables out in that area. They are not concrete barriers, but they are water-filled barriers. We allowed them because the fact that they're in a parking lot, not in a traveled way, not in a street where cars are moving 25, 30 miles an hour. They're moving a lot slower in a parking lot. So the chief was comfortable with that setup in that location. So to be long-winded about that, I apologize, but I wanted it to be somewhat at least clearer than just the resolution stated. So.
Great. Thanks, Lance.
You guys have any questions?
They're
No,
also
but-
parking in front of those barriers to add additional, a vehicle, in other words, when that also offers a little additional protection like they're doing on Ventnor Avenue near Boca. So it looks like a good setup. I think it was worth the work.
At Monmouth, yes, they'll be allowed to park in front of that where the street normally would be open.
Which acts as a barrier as well. Right?
Yep. Good clarification. That's it. That's all I got.
So we're good with that resolution?
Yeah.
Yes.
Next is Resolution 2020-221, and that's approve and support the local governing body authorizing the Sustainable Jersey grant application.
Yep.
This is every year, right?
It's our green team. This is our green team.
Right. Okay. Tim, you okay with that?
Yeah.
Mr. Kriegel? Yes.
Yep.
The next is 2020-222, and that's approving the liquor license renewal for the Siga Inc., which is a pocket license. We okay with that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, the next is 2020-223, and that's authorizing the Public Safety Commissioner, Timothy Kriebel, to execute an employment agreement with the Chief of the Fire Department. Does that mean we're keeping him?
Well,
well, he's on this line, so we'll have to talk about. No,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
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 He's been
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just another shout out to the preparedness and the action that he took during this COVID crisis has been he's definitely been a leader. Thank you, Chief Cahill.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, the next is 2020-224, authorizing the Public Safety Commissioner, Timothy Kriebel, to execute an employment agreement with the Chief of Police.
Same.
We're good.
They both-
Same
yep.
thing, right?
Both been stellar in their responses and help for the city during the crisis.
And the two-
Wholeheartedly agree. Chief's been with the restaurant stuff that we're looking at now and the added responsibility on his department for actually enforcing all this COVID regulations. He and his guys have done a great job.
Yeah. And the two safety departments, they work hand in hand with OEM Donna. It's a great group. So we appreciate you. Next is 2020-225, and that is authorizing a contract with Jersey Professional Management for Maria Mento, our BA. The resolution says temporary acting city administrator, deputy clerk, not to exceed $68,750. We go with that?
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
Again,
The next,
great work by Maria.
always, our quarterback, as
That's
Tim said once. Yes, our
Right.
quarterback. Next is 2020-226, and that is a resolution authorizing the contract with Jersey Professional Management for consultant services in the amount of $6,075. And that's only if we need additional services through them, correct?
Right.
Correct. I don't even think we used it this year.
We didn't. Yeah, I don't think we used any of that in the last couple of years, so.
And we've reduced it significantly. Yeah.
But
Good.
it's there if needed, so we don't have to then.
Right.
So that's good. Okay, the next is 2020-227, and that is authorizing execution of an agreement for the Resilient New Jersey grant. Can we go with that?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Then we will approve our bills and payroll stated by our CFO. And the next is discussion items. Do we have any discussion items on here?
I have one for that end of things. Thanks, Mayor. At the planning board last week, we had an application come in. We've had a few of them, and they are by right applications. And what that means is there are no variances for the subdivision. The board would be really not permitted to deny that application. It's a minor, so it's 3 lots or less, and each lot being created meets all of the area and bulk requirements set up in our zoning ordinance. There is a clause in the municipal land use law that allows a municipality to approve those administratively. So we don't have that in our ordinance, but I'm asking you guys if you would support that to add it, because they came to the board, they did their song and dance like they normally would, but they don't really need to do that. It's something that it could be done administratively. Our city engineer, what you do is you set up a committee, 3 board members, the city engineer or planning board engineer would review the application and recommend the approval of that minor subdivision. So, and it can be done through the construction office. I would like to pass an ordinance to amend our regs to allow that to happen.
Tim McGuire, we can do that for next meeting?
Yeah, I have a question. Lance, would that mean that it would be less expensive for the applicant
Yes,
when
they
it's
would not
by
have
right
to.
anyway? So it doesn't.
For one, they don't have, because it's by right and there's no variances, there's no notice requirements for an applicant under a by right minor subdivision. So it's not
Right.
even necessarily a public hearing. They come to the hearing, they do their presentation, but it's not considered a public hearing because they're not requesting any relief.
Right.
And I have been looking for the clause in the municipal land use law for, gosh, probably 2 years. And Leo was able to point me in the right direction, and it allows it. So I'll send that to you, Tim. I may already have. Leo sent it to me, so I'll forward it on to you, and we can get an amended resolution or amended ordinance together for that.
That's fine. I'll work with Leo. We'll get something ready for sometime in July.
Great.
I think
Okay,
that makes sense.
sounds good. Okay. Any other discussion items?
No, I'll
No?
save some comments for the commissioner's comments period.
Okay. Okay, so next we have the public portion. This is for the public that has joined us tonight. If you want to speak, Jim will let you in. You need to please state your name and your address, and then you can speak on any of the items that we just went over. Then there's another public portion that you could speak on anything, but this public portion is only for the items that we're going to put on when we leave the workshop and go into our regular meeting. Do I have a motion to open public portion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second motion?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Jim, anybody out there?
Does anybody from the public wish to speak on any of the items that were discussed tonight? Please use either the raise hand or the clap function within the reactions, and I will unmute you to ask any questions. Okay, I have one here.
Hello,
Please name your name and address, please.
Ralph Reinberg, 113 South Newport Ave, Ventnor, of course.
Yes, sir. How can we help you?
I'm trying to understand the last thing that was discussed about no public hearing or notice to neighbors to do a subdivision. I'm kind of confused on that.
Okay, Mayor, if I could.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Mr. Reinberg, what happens with say you're coming in for a variant or a minor subdivision and you need relief from a lot width or lot area or something of that nature, then you have to request that variance. You're applying for something that's not in compliance with our regulations. The municipal land use law allows an applicant that is abiding by all of our laws, all of our regulations. The lots are the minimum lot size, the correct lot width or the right lot depth. They don't need any relief. So it is what's known in the land use terminology as a by right subdivision. With that, the MLUL, the municipal land use law, allows you to not have a public hearing on it. It can be administratively approved. Our board could not deny a by right minor subdivision. You could not vote against it. You could vote against it, but a judge would overturn you and it would just cost the city more money in the process. It complies with everything that we could ask them to do. So they're having a public hearing on it is moot.
It's redundant.
It's redundant. The application the other evening did not have to provide notice to property owners within 200 feet of the site because there was no variances. It came before the board and it was held in a Zoom meeting. But this would eliminate the cost to a developer or a property owner to go through all that process.
But just to clarify, if there was a subdivision that was introducing smaller lots or something that was in some way not in line with the law, they would have to notice
absolutely.
and they would have to apply for a variance. So it's not a workaround in any way. It's simply getting rid of a redundant application.
Would the township, Tim, know that if there was a deed restriction or anything like that? Who would do the research on that?
The title company of the applicant would provide a title report on it, and the surveyor would pick that up.
But then I wouldn't would I get notified when the title company was looking at it in the survey or after it goes past the board?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Yeah, if I can join in, Lance, you would not get notice, but that would be a situation that wouldn't really involve the city. For example, if there were deed restrictions placed in an individual deed that prevented subdivision or put other restrictions on the lot, separate and apart from the zoning restrictions that the city places on all lots, that would be a private matter that wouldn't come before the city or the board if those were the only restrictions on a particular lot.
So I wouldn't get notified, is what you're saying, Tim?
You would not get notified in that circumstance where there was a deed restriction on the lot, nor would you get notified in the situation that we're discussing where someone would get what is known as a by right subdivision. That means they can do it and there's nothing we can do to stop them.
And I don't know that even if they had, say they came in for an application and had variances, there's no notification to tell you that there's a deed restriction or even the board that there's a deed restriction. Now,
So the responsibility would be on me to search the title before?
No.
Well, no, I think an analogy would be if you were decided to put an addition on your house and you hired an architect and the addition was within all the legal means in your area necessary, there was no variance on size or coverage, that no one would need to be notified and no one would really research that or have notion to research that. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, but it's the same kind of thing. It's within their legal rights as property owners to make these changes, just like it would your legal right to make a legal addition to your house or something of that nature.
That is correct. But if what you're speaking of are deed restrictions separate and apart from the municipal land use ordinance imposed by the city of Ventnor, yes, if you suspect that there were deed restrictions on a neighbor's property that prevented them from doing something they were attempting to do, you would have to go through a title company or a lawyer and research that on your own. That is correct.
Yeah, but I guess my question to the other Tim that just talked is that if I wouldn't find out if somebody had subdivided the lot and started building something till I saw something being built.
That's correct. But if they're allowed to do it and there's no restrictions from the city perspective, yeah, that happens all the time.
So that's when I get the lawyer to point out the deed restrictions.
If there's something unrelated to the city in the chain of title and the deed, yes, that's when you would get, you can either search the records yourself or get a lawyer or a title company, and then you could try to stop a neighbor from doing that if in fact there were deed restrictions in place that would prohibit what they are attempting to do.
And I've heard of that sort of thing happening, I guess. So that would mean that the title company and the survey had missed it in some way, in that case, and he would be correct
Right.
in his research.
So it's not like they
In
just
this
make
case,
an
it was-
application and
In this
it
case,
gets
it wasn't, but in a
Right.
theoretical case, it could be.
So there is some checks and balances at the municipal level for some of this, not necessarily to every deed restriction, but they're required to submit a deed with their subdivision plan. So when Roger reviews that deed, or I don't even know if we'd get to your level, Tim, or Leo's, because it's an administrative, we could probably have Leo look at it to make sure. But we do have our planning board engineer review the application for the administrative approval. So if he sees a red flag in there, like Tim, you're very well aware of the what's the letter in Brigantine, the
Rogie restrictions.
Rogie restrictions. There's a group of properties in Brigantine that are deed restricted from subdivision from the 1970s, Tim, or earlier maybe. I'm not sure.
1920s.
Wow. Okay. I wasn't there then. You must have been there.
Seems like it.
So there are deed restrictions there, and we,
Seems like it.
as the planner there for the last 20 plus years, and Tim, the solicitor there for a while back, he was aware of this letter that had a list of these properties. We would always ask for that and say, look, do you have this letter that says your lot is not one of those restricted parcels? So there's still some checks and balances with that regard, but certainly won't catch everything. But I hope we answered some, at least some of your question, Mr. Reinberg.
You answered some of them, but I've lost a lot of faith in the township. For the last 3 years, I've had a trash barrel in front of me between me and the beach. I called the town, and all they worried about is, they need to renew their permit. And the only way it got moved is the builder called me and said, aren't you happy I got rid of it after 3 years? By the way, it was a safety hazard. I couldn't sit out on my porch and cook anything because the seagulls attacked me. Okay,
What does that
for
have to do with the deed
3+ years.
restriction? I'm puzzled.
No, I think it's a separate.
Okay, so what
issue.
I'm trying to say is it's one of the more people go by this lot, and it's been not held for the good of the township in good shape. It's still not. It's got grass growing out of it and stuff, but the builder was like, well, I took it out. Aren't you happy? I said, well, it's been there a long time. And the builder said to me, well, I was finished with the house anyways. In other words, who cares? So I'm a lot of concerned about what's going on in the lot in front of me. Okay. And it's just, I don't know. I'm worried that something's going to happen there long before I get an opportunity to give my piece, I guess.
So where's the parcel? What parcel are you talking about?
It's the one right across from the gazebo.
Newport Avenue and the beach block, the empty one, the house was built on the adjacent.
Right.
was
So
subdivided.
there's,
Yeah.
if a person comes, whoever owns that lot comes in to build a house on that parcel, that cannot be subdivided any further. It's 2 lots. That's all it is. So they come in to build a house.
It's 1 lot. They would have to subdivide it now again.
It's too small. You would not be able to
Small.
create another lot there. So if they come in for a building permit to build a house there, they won't notify you that there's a building permit.
Well, apparently they don't know about it because they're asking $2 million for that lot as a buildable lot, and we'll build a house on it.
No,
right on the boardwalk.
A single lot.
It is a buildable lot right now. They cannot subdivide it further. So there was a subdivision done where they built a house on the lot behind it, and they can build a house on the lot on Newport Avenue. So, but what I'm trying to say is you won't get noticed when they pull a building permit for that house. That's not a requirement unless they need a variance.
From what I understand, it's one big lot now. It's not subdivided.
Right.
My understanding it was subdivided.
Well, it was for the entire lot from Newport to the next street was subdivided into 2 lots. It was one home that didn't get
Right.
finished. And then they demoed the foundation and built 2 houses. One is still empty. So the semantics here, I think you're saying the same things. It was subdivided, but the lot that's left is not going to be.
According to my lawyer, it's never been subdivided back to 2 lots.
Oh, the paper, you're saying the paperwork hasn't been done.
Oh, we're off topic on this, but Mr. Reinberg, I'd be happy to take a look at what's going on with that parcel.
I'd
I know
appreciate it.
we've had some other concerns from other neighbors in that area about trash and that builder leaving the property in not a great condition. He was working on the property, so he was able to keep a dumpster there. He's allowed to do that. Now that he's finished, it's gone. We will make sure we reach out to him again to make sure that property is clean. Well, it's not, he probably doesn't own it. We'll find out who
No,
owns
the builder doesn't own it. Somebody else owns it. I talked to him and he told me, well, talk to the trash company. I said, I already talked to him. They said, you won't get it moved farther away from me. I mean, it's very frustrating to say the least. But I'd be glad to talk to you offline at some point in the near future, so I don't take up everybody's time at this point.
No, that's all right. I'll take a look at the site, and if I can get Jimmy Agnesino out there to take a look at it, and if it's something I can get cleaned up, I will certainly get that done as soon as we can. This is the time that you want to be out on that porch enjoying that view.
Yeah, if we could talk offline about the subdivision too. I know this isn't
Sure.
part of it right now.
Yep, I'm going to take a look at that as well and see if that was done. I thought it was subdivided, but
It was originally, then it was put together.
won't be the first time I've been incorrect. So,
Well, we
I
all
ask you-
have our.
Can I ask you a question, Lance? What are the requirements or limitations for having a permit that on a home that no progress is being made on it? Like, is there
as
that-
long as they do something, and the permits are allowed to stay open for about a year, but as long as they do something on it, the state allows them those permits. Permits are regulated by DCA. It's really hard to shut down them for lack of progress.
Right.
Trust me, we've tried with issues with people trying to raise their homes and then stopping and leaving it in poor
Right.
condition. It's one of our biggest challenges post Sandy.
Yeah.
But this one, yeah, it's hard. I mean, just knowing I've had my permit on my house for 6 months now and I'm still not done.
Right.
But I've asked Jimmy that, and he says, look, as long as they do something or make an attempt to do something, they're allowed to keep it open.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
So,
you'll
Mr.
get
Reinberg,
back
what I'll
to
do
me?
is, Mr. Reinberg, if you send me an email, then we can touch base offline. My email's llandgraf@ventnorcity.org.
Can I find that on the site?
You can, yes, absolutely.
Okay. I'll send something to you.
Great,
All right. Appreciate everybody's time. Thank you.
not at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else out there, Jim?
Anybody else from the public wish to speak on any of the items that have been discussed so far?
Jim, I see there's a phone number there. You want to unmute that one and see if they're interested in?
The person with the area code 215, do you have any questions or comments on any of the items that have been discussed? Never mind,
They left us.
they left.
No, got scared.
Anybody else? I don't see any as of right now.
Okay. Do I have a motion to close public portion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do I have a motion to close workshop portion of the meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion to call to order the regular meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we are in our regular meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes for April 9, 2020 regular meeting as well as April 23rd, 2020 regular meeting?
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
Lisa, roll call, please.
Mr. Kriebel?
Yes.
Mr. Landgraf?
Yes.
Mayor Holtzman?
Yes. We have no introductions of any ordinances. We do not have any public hearings, and we do not have any ordinances to adopt. So By consent, do I have a motion to approve resolutions 2020-205 through 2020-227?
Make a motion to approve by consent resolutions 2020-205 through 227.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
Lisa, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kriebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Langgraf?
Yes.
Mayor Holtzman?
Yes. Al, our CFO, can you please give us the amounts for our bills and payrolls to approve tonight?
Yes, for the bill list, it's $2,259,704.34. And our payroll this run was $754,386.03.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve bills and payroll stated from our CFO?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
Lisa, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kriebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Langgraf?
Yes.
Mayor Holtzman?
Yes. Next is announcements and safety reports. Well, one announcement I'll make is starting our meetings in July, we will be back in the commission chambers. So the public's welcome to come. But we usually don't have a large crowd as long as people keep with the social distancing. And we're going to do Facebook Live. Am I correct?
Either that or continue the Zoom as well.
Okay. So people will be able to interact with us if they can't physically come to City Hall.
And I think we keep that. I really think this is allowing a lot more people to interact with us. And I for one, kind of like it.
I agree.
Yeah, that's fine.
As much as I enjoyed my Zoom-free day yesterday, I had no Zoom meetings yesterday. It was very nice.
Right.
Very nice. I have one announcement, Mayor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mrs. Barbara Altman passed away this week.
Yes.
She was not only in Ventnor, but kind of down beach and even Atlantic City. She was an iconic figure in our community. I knew Ed, her husband, who passed away recently as well, a year or so back. Just good people. Ed was an engineer, so I had dealings with him through his profession. But she was always a great lady and very well respected in our community, and she will certainly be missed. Her boardwalk running, and then in later years her bike riding was infamous on the boardwalk, waving to everybody who went by. So
she was such a lady. She was a lady.
Agreed.
Lady.
Agreed.
Right.
But cross her, and she'll take you to task. So
Yeah.
She was. I enjoyed conversations with her. So she will be missed. And to the Altman family, Jennifer, I know it was a great loss for you. So
Would you like to do a moment of silence, Lance?
certainly, that'd be fine.
That'll be great.
Let us do a moment of silence. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Commissioner Kriebel, do you have any announcements?
Only to reiterate that we are having a pier opening tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. The pier house is just in the very final touch-up paint type stages. I caught it's just been such a great experience going back to 2017 when we started this project to see it wind up. It's been such an arc of everybody from you, Mayor, to Maria, fighting for the DEP, the Green Acres dollars, and Lance fighting the DEP to get everybody. We weren't all fighting the DEP, but and then also all of us kind of weighing in on all the design changes. I think Lance hit the nail on the head with bringing it more of a coastal kind of architecture, and I just had a very rewarding experience working with the architect and the builder, and I look forward to turning that building over with everybody's help. Public Works has been great in picking up the where it's going to take us, and so that's happening. Ribbon cutting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. 6:15 is when the actual ribbon cutting will happen, and we hope people will gather take a tour through this brand new building, which will be part of the new Ventnor skyline, if you will. It's a profile that will become something of our character. So I'm looking forward to that.
Agreed. Great job by all. It was really changed the whole look of that pier.
It's
So all those
beautiful.
T-shirts and coffee mugs are going to have to all get new ones have to get bought now.
Well,
Yeah.
Design.
Now those are vintage. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Exactly. Yes. That's beautiful. And the fire station too is absolutely magnificent. I drive by it every day. It's beautiful.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
Buildings
Go ahead.
they're buildings that we should all be proud of, and that's the kind of thing that Ventnor's now doing. I think that with teams that are doing it the right way, we're really holding up ourselves to some higher standards here, I think. So
Yes.
looking
We
forward.
have a good team.
Yeah,
Everybody, that's everybody included, a good team.
absolutely.
Yes. Okay. If we're done with,
I got some
Okay.
other commissioner. We doing announcements or comments? We're doing comments,
Well, we can-
right?
we can do comments and reports. I might put myself on mute because my two little dogs are starting to get a little crazy in the other room.
Okay. All right, I got a couple things just to update everybody on. The library windows are in process, replacement of those windows. First floor is done. They hope to have the second floor done next week. During that same time period, we had a company come in and clean the ventilation system in the building. That includes the senior center and everything. So we cleaned out those ventilation things. So when it reopens, it'll be pristine airflow through those ventilation systems. And we're going to keep that going. That's going to be a recurring thing that happens. I don't know how often it's going to happen. I think I would ask Ed, but he's not here tonight, with regard to when that'll happen. But it's on a recurring basis that we'll keep those ductworks and the ventilation system cleaned up. The municipal parking lot on Newport Avenue is almost done. You see the wheel stops are in, the line striping's in,
Great.
fencing is in. It looks great. The landscaping's in for the most part. We've got to put in some weed barrier, and then the mulch goes in. I think if it's not in today, it'll be in by the end of this week. Waiting on lighting. There's the one thing that is holding us up. The most important part, the kiosk for parking meters, to pay for parking there. We're waiting on that to be delivered so we can install that. So from a project standpoint, we're wrapping a couple things up. Just to touch base briefly on the pier house. Phenomenal job by all across the board. Weatherby did a great job. When the public gets to see this thing, the inside is just phenomenal how they came up with a design and they really implemented it. Some of the decor on the outside or the exterior treatments, the iPay lattice work that was put in is just amazing. It just really, it pops the whole side of the building. The Margate side of the building is great. So, and the door, the gate is it's 400 pounds. You move it with one finger. It's a great system.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay.
Can I add something?
Sure.
It was one of the first meetings I did with you with DEP. When I remember when you said, get DEP in a room. Funny, and I remember thinking like, holy cow, boy, is he
It was.
Lots of luck. That's never going to happen. And it did. And they released like over $1 million to us, including the grant money for the pier.
Yep.
It's totally unrelated to the pier, but they were holding that money.
For other reasons, yeah.
We had gotten a grant and part low interest loan unrelated to the pier.
Wow.
Related to other Green Acre issues, and which we're still trying to resolve the final of them. But yeah.
So that was in 17. I remember that, and ever since, going through that process we couldn't really start until you got that all green lighted, and we found a way.
We had a lot of people in that room.
No pun intended, Tim. Green lighted. Yes.
Right. Yeah. And what your comment about the builder, he really took what was on the page and he made it better. Some of the IPA accents were not part of the design, but they're an improvement. And he treated it like it was a landmark in his home where he's from, which is what we were lucky enough to have a local contractor work on it, and he really did take pride in it. You can tell.
You see the little trim work up around the columns, Tim?
Added
I saw that the other day.
Yeah, they were showing off a little. They're showing off.
A little bit.
Yep.
A little bit.
In a nice way.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Love it.
It was actually a better design than I think all that white AZAC. It adds a
Yeah,
little
I
character.
agree. It really adds it pops it. Just pops that whole side of the building.
No question. So come out and see it, everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the pier is going to be open afterwards, all the way out to the end. The whole, till 8 o'clock. We're going to keep it open for everybody to go out and walk out, check out the pier. And tomorrow's supposed to be a beautiful day. Go out and get cooled off and stand up out over the water. And it's beautiful out there. The views in the evening are amazing.
Excellent.
Saturday morning, our pier master will be there at 8 a.m. selling keys.
There we go. We did prorate the purchase, right, Maria?
10 months.
Okay, good.
We prorated it to 10.
Great.
Okay.
Great. Okay. Are we ready to move on, or
I think so.
we're good? Commissioner Kriebel?
That's all I have.
Okay. So next is the public comment set portion of the meeting where anyone out there can speak on anything. You just need to state your name and your address. Do I have a motion to open to the public comment?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Anybody out there, Jim?
Right. We got one here. Go ahead.
Is this me?
Yes.
Hi, Andy Starr, 500 North Cambridge.
Oh, hey, Andy.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
I wanted to remind everybody that the beach concerts start a week from Saturday, every Saturday night.
Great.
From 5 to 9 over Newport Avenue Beach. And Maria Gatta, Penny, and I would like to thank the city for inviting us to have a small farmers market in conjunction with the concerts starting next Saturday. And we're hoping that will be a real positive and expose some of our residents who can't make it down for the Friday market to come and shop at the farmers market on Saturday, as well as enjoy the concerts. So thank you again, Ventnor.
Andy, what's the layout going to be for that? Where are the tents going to be set up?
I can only speak to the farmers market part of it. We're still working with Donna and Dina regarding a few vendors that they're working with. And Lance, I don't know if you want to comment about anything else, but the farmers market portion of it is going to be a few booths along the side of the building on the grass on Newport, and the rest of them on the grass behind Newport.
Yeah,
great.
Kind of where they used to set up.
We have about 12 to 15 vendors signed up, at least for July 4th.
Yeah, I think we had something similar a couple years ago, Tim, if you remember.
Yeah.
Similar to that.
Kind of like the craft fair on that direction. So
Yes.
that's great.
Yep.
And 12 to 15, that's a nice amount.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's
It
great.
works nicely with the spacing, except for, I think, one of our vendors. They're all food vendors of some kind, including some of our farmers and a variety of vendors.
Cool. Excellent. Bring your recyclable bag, of course. Bring your bag.
Right.
Exactly.
To the concert.
I like the idea of you being there, Andy, because a lot of people can't get, if they work Monday through Friday, they can't get to the market on Friday morning.
That's correct, and we've seen some feedback on social media, people saying that's great because I can never make it on Friday. So that's a positive there. Maybe we'll get some people coming off the beach, and of course, people going to the concerts. The farmers market's going to be 4:30 to 7:30, so not exactly mirroring the hours of the concert, but
great.
I predict continued success, Andy.
I do too.
Thank you.
What Andy was talking about was we are pursuing an option with Santucci's to do a beer garden behind the library there for the concerts for the summer. So we are looking at that option. Donna and Chief Biaggi are looking at that and seeing if that's something we can work through. Tim, I think Tim McGuire, you're going to have to get drug into that a little bit with regard to some of the requirements for that. They're going to have to fence off an area for that. So They're working on it. So it
Right.
could be fun.
Yeah. Wristbands, something of that nature.
Something like that. I'm not sure exactly how Donna's working on it. She was going to reach out to Blake Barbusco from Santucci's and work out some details.
Great. You got my vote.
Good.
Sounds good.
Great, thank you again.
Thanks, Andy.
Thanks.
Thank you, Andy. Okay, anybody else out there, Jim?
Anybody else from the public wish to speak? Have any questions or comments? Please raise your hand.
Jim, I don't know if this was old, but on the chat, there was something from Jared Lipsky. He
Yep,
wanted to know if he could
I just
speak.
unmuted him right now.
Okay.
Thank you all. How you doing? My name is Jerry Lipsy. I live at 5800 Edgewater Avenue. I have a suggestion and two questions. The suggestion was a number of years ago, the city of Ventnor used to be able to sell city of Ventnor flags, which were a huge success in the neighborhood. And lately they have not been available, and I've been trying to find them. And so I looked into it, and I figured out you can get them for about $5 to $6 a flag. You can sell them for $20. So it's a cost neutral, actually maybe a little profit making thing, but it would be a great thing for the community spirit and to, support Ventnor. So I would like to suggest the company do the city do that.
Sure.
I looked into that last summer. Kelly Harrigan had asked because she has one and people walked by her when they would walk by her house. They asked, and Maria, can you follow up with Patty? I know but it was like the summer was almost over because they used to sell them years ago. So we were trying to figure out if we were trying to find the company that made them.
I've done some research on that, Mayor, and I can provide that information. I've been looking for these for the last 3 years. I have a lot of flags in my house, so I like the Ventnor flag very much.
Great.
So that would be great if you. Yeah,
I'll send an email. Yes.
That's wonderful.
I'd like to see the new revised logo on that. It's a little cleaner, a little more bold, a little easier to read from a distance. But I'd like, please, Mr. Lipsky, send that along.
I will. My second question is, I've lived at my house here. I've owned this house for 26 years. I'm a huge supporter of Ventnor. I love what you guys are doing right now, and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak. Is there a way that people that live here and are invested in the community are able to participate more in the decisions and in discussions? Like I was going to suggest some sort of like a link on your website where property owners who are not residents and can't vote can communicate with the government in a better way.
Well, right. I mean, they can always email us. We also have, Maria can explain it, contact us where where you fill out your name, your address, and they can communicate with us that way. Email, phone call.
I recognize that, Mayor, but a lot of non-residents don't realize that is available to them. And the website has been so useful. Maybe a click option on there saying, community comments or something like. Just a suggestion. I mean, that's up to you guys. But I mean, there's so many times.
There is something on the website for reaching out. That people use quite often, actually, for suggestions, comments, complaints.
And we've grown our Facebook reach by hundreds of percentage. So I don't know if you're following us on Facebook, but
I do.
Maria and I all get we get all sorts of and our other administrator gets all sorts of requests that we funnel to the different departments. But we also have the ad hoc committee, which it's a smaller group of
15
residents, 15.
Yeah.
And I'd like to encourage them to reach out more so that there would be more of a consensus from residents. And the whole point that we did when we established them was to create a communication link and put a little bit more onus on that group to say, bring to us things that are valuable for your neighborhoods or important to you. And then we have a meeting with them once a month. So the ad hoc committee also has a Facebook page. They also have a link on our website. And that might be a place to reach out to get your comments across.
It's actually called the Ventnor Community Advisory Board.
Community
Right.
Thank
advisory
you.
board.
I will look for that. I appreciate that information. And my
They
third,
are residents and non-residents also
Yeah.
on that
Well,
that,
committee.
that's what it should, that's what it should be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
and
full-time
just,
and second home. It's a mixture of both.
Thank you.
and again, just to summarize, there is a site on our webpage for reaching out to us. It's like an app within the webpage. We also use See-Click-Fix, which is mostly complaints from people when they see something that needs to be
Well, let's
fixed.
be honest, they're all complaining.
And,
I don't actually have a lot of complaints, but I do
and
have.
our Facebook page is really a great way to get our attention. You can message us privately, and I learned you can also send us a recording.
Yeah, you can.
Thank you. I will look for those resources.
Yeah.
But my last comment is a proposal for the city to make a bold statement. Ventnor is such a beautifully diverse community. And with all that's going on in the world right now, I would love to see Ventnor do something that brings us all together. And my thought was, why don't we paint the words unity in big yellow letters on Ventnor Avenue, right in front of City Hall? Just something that is non-political, non-controversial, but speaks
that
to
is
who
political.
we are as a city.
I like that.
So that's what I'd like to propose. And just as a final announcement, I don't know if you people follow the Ventnor Community Forum. For the last 6 weeks, I've been hosting music concerts on my deck with our neighbors performing, socially distant, of course. And we've had between 30 and 70 people a week show up from the porches and in cars and watching. And it's every Saturday night at 5 p.m.
Oh, that's great.
Saturday night?
Saturday night at 5 p.m. We also do a sunset trumpet salute to our healthcare, police, fire, and other essential workers. A trumpet
I
salute.
love it.
Look on Ventnor Community Forum. We've been posting it for the last couple of weeks.
I'm not
We're not on that.
Yeah,
No.
That's
Too
a good
negative.
one. Oh, no.
Too negative,
No,
sorry.
I thought because Paul was too. Oh, never mind. Never mind.
no.
So
Thank you.
So when do you do it Saturday night?
Saturday
Where-
nights at 5 p. at 5800 Edgewater, which is at the corner of Edgewater and Dudley Avenues in
Right.
Ventnor Heights.
Oh, okay.
Lance, Commissioner
I've heard
Lance,
of
you've
this.
been here. Commissioner Lance, you've been here before.
I have. I know where you're talking from. Yep.
Yeah, and just so you know, I mean, I've sponsored every single year. There's been a Porch Fest. I've participated. I love the city. I love what you guys are doing, and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
I'll be here. Now they can join on Zoom. I'll always be here,
That's
Great.
great.
but I
Thanks,
won't
Jared.
always talk. I promise you, I won't talk.
No, you don't, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Anybody else out there, Jim?
Anybody else wish to question or comment? I'm not seeing anyone.
Okay. Let me see where I am. We don't have an executive session, am I correct?
Correct.
Hold on one second, I lost. Alrighty. Okay. Do I have a motion to close public portion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
And do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting
Aye.
adjourned. Everyone stay safe and have a good weekend.
Have a great 4th of July, everyone.
Yes, you
Take care,
too.
everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.